Manchester United won, Arsenal won, a stalemate at Old Trafford, but what an amazing performance from the Red Devils, especially in the second half. Without any further ado, let's analyze. Alright, so before we get started with this tactical analysis video, I want you to imagine a tactical phases spectrum. On the far left, we have the defensive phase. Basically, how does the team organize themselves when they don't have the ball? How do they defend? Zonally, man marking, two banks of four, etc. And then on the far right is the attacking phase, which includes the build-up phase and how do we actually create chances in the final third. And then right in the middle is the transition phase, okay, aka the holy grail of football tactics. What does the team do immediately after they lose the ball, and what do they do immediately after they win the ball? And I think that it's in this zone that this game was played tactically. So let's analyze and let's see how that panned out. So obviously Arsenal, who are a much better team than we are in terms of the attacking phase, they are much better at keeping possession. They are very good at exploiting these half spaces right here. However, they struggled with that throughout the game because Manchester United were actually set up for that very purpose. And especially Lenioro here on the left-handed side, left-hand-sided half space, where he was actually quite potent in thwarting the Arsenal attacks, like in this sequence right here, which has allowed us to create a few opportunities where we could counterattack the Gunners. And the opposite is true because Manchester United is one of the weakest teams currently in the league when it comes to the attacking phase. We are very poor, especially when it comes to the build-up phase and creating chances in the final third. And Arsenal were, of course, aware of that, and they are much better at pressing, you know? And so, of course, they were able to exploit some of those weaknesses. For example, here with Victor Lindelof and this telegraphed pass towards Casemiro has been excellent, by the way, in this game. Interception from Declan Rice, and then Arsenal can put themselves in a situation where they can sucker punch us and counterattack. Of course, our defensive shape is kind of compromised. They're trying to single out Odegaard. But of course, Manchester United had much better opportunities throughout the game, especially in the second half, from which this sequence is taken, where Manchester United should have probably murdered Arsenal with 3 or 4 goals because we had some of the best chances. But of course, the linchpin for Manchester United in that midfield was Casemiro, like in the sequence here. And I have to praise him because I do believe that Casemiro does not really have a future at Manchester United. He's not a player that we should really build the team around for the future. But I have to praise him for this. He has been an amazing professional, because he knows that the fans are not too keen on him and his performances have been below par. He knows that the club are attempted to move away from him. They probably have already told him that they'd rather sell him than keep him. But we haven't heard anything negative from him through the media. And he's been performing pretty well. And I think that if he can give us a great 2 months, until the end of this the season, until we sell him in the summer, I think that his time overall, at least as far as I'm concerned, will be remembered fondly. But I think this game was amazing. When I saw him on the team sheet, I was kind of nervous, but he was excellent in midfield, okay? So, of course, he's able to win the ball. Typical defensive midfielder role, wins the ball and then just gives it to faster, trickier players, in this case, Garnacho. And another player I need to praise is, of course, well, Garnacho has been quite direct, but Mazraoui. His wing-back play in this game has been excellent. You know, just moving into the inside areas where Garnacho moved to the outside areas, for example, here. A nice cutback towards Eriksen. That was a very good opportunity. And here again, we saw Casemiro involved in winning this ball again in the defensive transition phase. As soon as we lose the ball, we are able to win it back. Soon here again, Mazraoui with a very clean tackle, and then he's able to lay the ball into the wide areas again towards Garnacho here, who has been quite direct and extremely threatening for the Arsenal defenders. And then here, this cross, Xerxes should have scored this. I think that Xerxes, this was like the score of, this could have been an amazing goal with this back heel, but it just wasn't his game. He was excellent against Sociedad, by the way. I could not really make that video, guys. I was extremely busy. I really just couldn't find the time. But here, Xerxes could have just built up on that performance with that goal. And again, this is one of the best sequences, again, with Mazraoui, again, acting as that inside inverted wing back. Look, he's really like replacing Højlund as the number 9 in this sequence. And then Garnacho, of course, is going to go wide. And Mazraoui here, very intelligent move. He understands that the ball is going to come towards this area, leaving that space behind him where Bruno Fernandes can exploit it. This, again, should have been the goal that buried Arsenal. But then again, Raya came in clutch again with a double save that kept Arsenal in the game. But of course, these transition sequences did not come just from us winning the ball, i.e. The defensive transition phase, but they also came in the form of attacking transition phase, because we were actually quite incisive with how we used the ball. I love this angle right here, this shot, this is amazing. Dalot, very good wing back play from him. And then here again, Xerxes building up on his performance against Real Sociedad. Beautiful hold-up play, and he's just able to bring the players around him. Dalot here, beautiful run. He's quite pacey, he's using that pace. But then, of course, Mazraoui over here, he identifies that space, and then just beautiful connection between our two wing backs, and then Mazraoui should have just put that one away. So as you can see from these chances, those were the best chances of the game, and they were all Manchester United chances that came from transitions. We could have just killed the games right there. But of course, finishing let us down. But also some of Arsenal's best chances also came again from these defensive transitions. Again, here with Merino able to win the ball in this space here where the Manchester United defenders are not fully organized. And then Martinelli is able to ask for the ball and then attack the space. Again, the most dangerous situations for both Arsenal and Manchester United came from those transitions. And then here, now this is the sequence that has led to Bruno Fernandes' free kick goal. And what I like about the sequence is the fact that we were able to put ourselves in a very good situation with just 10 men on the pitch. If you remember, Xerxes was actually off the pitch for this sequence. And of course, throughout the game, because as I've said earlier, Arsenal are much better than us when it comes to pressing on the front foot. So Manchester United were not really trying to build up from the back as often as we've seen in previous game, but rather we were actually more relying on Onana to go long, okay? But then the idea was actually much more elegant, because the idea was the moment the ball drops into these areas right here, that there would be one or two Manchester United players who are ready to pounce on those second balls. And this is the same thing. Again, Arsenal think they have the ball, but then defensive transition, Garnacho is able to win that ball back and drive at the Arsenal defense. Again, he's been quite direct in this game. And then we are able to get the free kick. And then was this David Beckham or Bruno Fernandes? You can always rely on a player I consider to be currently one of the best players in the world. Yes, you can laugh if you want. Bruno Fernandes is one of the best players in the world currently. And this free kick, oh my world, Mr. Hollywood just coming in clutch again with a beautiful finish. Now let's talk about that Declan Rice goal, because I think that Manchester United's performance, especially in the second half, was flawless. This is why I'm really upbeat, because yes, we probably should have won, but I think that the performance was amazing. We should have finished the chances that we've had, but overall, I could not be happier, okay? But this goal was extremely disappointing, because I think that we just lacked a little bit of concentration. Here, as you can see, Declan Rice strays the ball wide, and then he's just marauding into space. But then here, the Manchester United players do something that I massively disapprove of, which is you don't want to be in these situations and be in a very straight line. You want a little bit of a staggered shape, because here we are leaving this space right here that anybody can exploit if there is a cutback, and that's exactly what's happening. But here what I'm trying to understand, I'm just trying to understand the mentality of the players, especially Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes. So Heaven, who has been again excellent in this game. Unfortunately, I'm not really going to talk about him much in this video. I'm waiting to get a much bigger sample size of his performances in the Manchester United shirt before I make a video on him. But I think he was impressive when he made his cameo in the second half. But I think probably in the back of their mind, Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes, maybe they're thinking, okay, he's young, he just came into the club, maybe we need to provide him with extra protection. This is why they're actually dropping next to him, because that's the only explanation I can have, because I don't understand why did we leave a player as dangerous as Declan Rice, and here Thomas Partey is actually not that far off in these areas, without having at least one or two players there who are willing to kind of like block the angle for the shot here. So anyway, that was kind of like a missed chance for Manchester United to just get the 3 points, a lack of concentration, I think. But overall, this has been a great performance from the Red Devils. All right, so let's talk about Heaven's cameo. Now, as I've said earlier in this video, I'm not really going to talk about his performance yet, because I want to see more of him before I can make a much more, complete video of his performances in a Manchester United shirt as a defender. But he was impressive. And what I want to say about that right now is that I'm currently, planning and preparing certain videos on transfer targets that we could go for in the summer. And some of the options that I'm going to present to you are a little bit out there, a little bit left field, eccentric. And I'm sure that some of you are going to be saying, who? What, this guy on a free? Come on, we're Manchester United. What? Who does he play for? A lot of you are probably going to be surprised. A lot of you probably never heard of those names. But I think that this heaven sign-in by Jason Wilcox should just show you that you don't need to spend a lot of money on quality. You have to have an eye for talent, and talent can come from anywhere. Who thought that a 6 million striker from Chivas Guadalajara would end up being as productive as Chicharito? Okay, who thought that an unknown defender from Spartak Moscow was actually going to be as good and as dominating as Nemanja Vidic? So sometimes top players can be found in the unlikeliest places. So just keep that in mind. Also, and the other things I want to talk about, this is not a criticism, but just an observation. Is it just me, or are the Manchester United players much more determined and driven and resolute when it comes to playing against teams like, Arsenal or Liverpool or Manchester City? It's as if they have a point to prove. It's as if they feel that those teams are worthy of their absolute best. Whereas teams like Ipswich or Southampton are not really worthy of the best versions of Manchester United. And I think that this mentality has to change. Again, this is not a criticism, but just an observation. In fact, Amorim talked about it in the post-match press conference himself. He mentioned, how maybe the Manchester United players just think that it's more acceptable to play in a low block and play more compact against, tough opposition, bigger teams like Arsenal or Liverpool. But I think that needs to change. You have to bring your A game every single game. It doesn't matter who you are playing against. This reminds me of Ash Ketchum's Charizard in Pokemon, He would only show up when he felt that the Pokemon he was facing was worthy of him, So this needs to change. If you want to be a winner, you have to be a winner all the time against everybody. So, guys, I hope that you've enjoyed this tactical analysis video. Now, unfortunately, I just came back from work. I spent the whole day working in my, 9-to-5 job. So I didn't really get much of an opportunity to go really deep into what happened in this game. But I hope that you've enjoyed the video regardless. If you did, please give it the thumbs up. Until next time, cheers.